Welcome back to Church After Hours. This is episode 24, and as you can see, we got the band back together. Our brother Kurt was out last week, but he's back here with us. Barry Bonds is back in the building for another classic episode. We knew he was going to turn up, but y'all was going to love episode 23. So let's jump right into our recap. And I just want to salute to everybody that shouted out, especially I want to give a shout out to our brother Kev Brown, who really, reached out and said he enjoyed the episode, especially talking about mental health and how people get depressed during the holidays and how we need to check on our people. I'm going to go to you, Bonds, since you was here last week. Talk about episode 23 and some of the highlights and what it may have meant to you.
Well, I thought it was the greatest episode ever in life history.
Because you was on it, right?
To be honest with you, that dude that was to the right of you was spitting numbers fast. My God, it was just life-changing. But, I just think that it's time for, real conversations and real perspectives and real honest opinions. Honest opinions. And that's what we give you here at Church After Hours. So, you come here, you're going to get it. You know what I'm saying? Straight, no chaser.
Same for you, Kurt. What did you think about that episode since you wasn't on the episode?
Wow. I do the editing, man. So a couple of times I thought about giving Barry the win. But I just let the dice roll, man.
Yeah.
And, I think it was, very good for us to have Barry back. He brings the energy that's, unmatchable. So
I appreciate that, brother. Hey, this brother does great editing.
Yes.
Holla at my man.
The illest.
Get you.
The illest.
He ain't cheap, but he'll get you, all right?
Absolutely.
We got to get that money. Let's go.
So let's jump into episode 24, man. We got another great episode, great topics, and of course, the newest and greatest segment on the show, Church Parking Lot Gossip. Now, we got a couple things we want to hit. The first one we want to hit, and we just added this one because this kind of took over the internet and our spaces that we frequent, and that's Coach Prime and Coach Deion Sanders. Now, the only reason I'm bringing this up is people are like, well, that's sports. Why y'all talking about that on Church After Hours? Well, y'all know two things. Deion is very much religious. He talks about his Christianity, his faith, and hasn't ran from that. And second of all, when he took the Jackson State job, he said he felt that it was a calling from God. Like he heard from God that he needed to go to HBCUs and try to change the trajectory and, get some equality. Got the first 5-star guy to come there, and Travis Hunter, and 4-stars like Kevin Coleman and others. I'm going to go to you first, Kurt. Talk to me about Deion and his leaving Jackson State, headed to now Colorado, and how some of the things that we're seeing from our own people who are upset about him making this transition after 2.5 years at Jackson State.
So let me get this right. Y'all was happy, Ye lost to Billy. Y'all mad that Deion went and got the bags.
Right.
Which one is it gonna be?
Yeah.
I would think that Jackson State is not some of the people that are mad. I would think Jackson State is appreciative of the time that they had with Prime.
Yes.
That guy is electric.
Mm-hmm.
He brings a lot to the table, but you should have known you only had so much time with that brother.
Yep.
The one thing that I respect that he said prior to any of this happening was, when he was on 60 Minutes, he said he had to take care of his staff.
Yeah.
Them guys taking a pay cut, they was making what, like you said, 40
50,
grand?
60,000 a year.
That's no money.
And they've just been up to about 400,000 now overnight.
Right. So, man, it's a power move. We gotta respect it. And he's gonna. I remember when we were growing up in the '90s, the Colorado football program was a powerhouse.
Yep.
And now they're not.
Yep. Eric Bieniemy, Cordell Stewart, and then the brother, the rest of the day, Rashawn Salam won the Heisman for them.
Yeah. Right. So
shout out to Solomon Wilcox.
Yeah. Right. So, I think it's a great move, man. Only thing I'm concerned about is, making sure them guys stay in shape and ain't.
Right. Absolutely. It's definitely legal up there. Bonds, what's your thought about Coach Prime, a.k.a. Deion Sanders, making this move to Boulder, Colorado, which is about 45 minutes from Denver, where our brother Ann is at?
Well, in the spirit of the great Stephen A. Smith, have to disagree with you, my brother. Certainly, I feel like, yeah, we want to get to the bag, but then again, there's certain things as purpose. Purpose has to play a part in this. The purpose of him going to Jackson State was that he would revive, or he would put new life, breathe new life into the Jackson State program.
And into HBCUs.
Yeah. And then shining a light on HBCUs.
Right.
He did that, but see, the thing is that the job wasn't over. So while Prime would think he was hearing God say, move on, he probably said, no, move on to the next season. That's probably what he heard. You know what I'm saying? Because his purpose and his time there, I feel, wasn't over. I feel like if he would have stayed, that he would have turned that program up a little bit more. They would have been actually contenders into the BCS Bowl somehow.
Well, let me just, cause see, this always mess with Barry. He don't really know a lot about sports, so I got to school him real quick. Jackson State is an FCS program, not an FBS program.
Oh, okay.
So there's no way possible they could have ever made it to a BCS Bowl.
Okay, that's what's up then. Thank you, my brother.
Right.
All right. But I just feel like at the end, he wasn't done with his purpose. His mission was not completed. He sparked a lot of, a hope in HBCU, and as well as the public opinion as well. Everybody got really energized, like, yo, we're doing it for ourselves, for us, by us. That's what we can't seem to be forgetting. Yeah. I get it that you want to get to the money and get your staff some more money, but look, without risk, there's no reward. And I feel like they could have waited a little bit longer, at least 3 more years to really solidify, get those type of picks, get people in there as well. 3 more years. I feel like if he would have had 3 more years, that would have been, that program would have been up and just super strong, as well as more coaches or more picks would have been, or prospects would have went to the HBCUs.
I'll say this. I think that water program put the water problem.
He going right into what I was going to talk about.
Yep. I think that put him to a bosh on him getting up out of there.
The water?
Yeah. You have to. I used to live in Jackson. My brothers know I used to live in Jackson for 3 years, me and my wife, before we, moved to Columbus. And beautiful city, beautiful people. And I thought he was going to stay at least 2 more years because his son, who's the quarterback, who started as a freshman, is now a sophomore. Like, he'll leave once he gets ready to go to the NFL draft.
Right.
But as Kurt just so eloquently stated, the water crisis in the city of Jackson was huge. The city was without water for days and almost a week at a time. It would go on and come back off. My cousin, who's down there, who's a freshman, I think Kurt has a relative that's down there as well. So they was on the campus and they was telling me that, yo, we ain't got no water. She had to go to my uncle's house, who stays a little bit further out, to get, baths and things of that nature. So the constant things that go on in that type of environment, I think that, was a sign for him, like, I got to move forward. You know what I mean?
It's
now,
a conspiracy.
Now, everybody is not going to be Eddie Robinson. I think this is what our people do too much. We project how we think people should do things and based on what we would do. Now, me personally, I would have stayed because that's what I am. I'm a grassroots, ground level type of guy. But if that's not what his life passion is, because you got to remember, Prime was trying to get the Florida State job and they didn't take him. So he went to HBCU route and now he's in Power 5. So we can't expect people to do things that we would do. And I just wish the brother success. His son is going with him. Travis Hunter's going with him. And, hopefully they do well, man. And, we go see Ant. We might have to go catch a game. You know what I'm saying?
But why can't we stay and stick it out with our own people?
We can.
Why can't
we can, Barry. I'm not saying.
Why is white ice always colder and water always wetter? Why we got to build up? You know what I'm saying? It seems like to the popular opinion that he built up just to go back to the Power Fives to say, hey, I just showed myself approved for y'all. So now I'm ready, y'all. Come on now, y'all see me. I'm down here working on my people. But then come on, rescue me. Why is that?
I would say this. I think Prime had that ambition, but it seems like that, reality hit that yes, we are on an HBCU campus, but we're still in Mississippi. We're still in Mississippi, USA. You know what I mean? These fools, like, I'm with you on the conspiracy theory on the water.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Things was rolling good, and they done clipped the water, like.
And that's the state capital. I mean, that's this capital of the state.
Yeah. Come on, son. Who knows what has been said to prime that we don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because Mississippi is still Mississippi.
They still the home of the rebel flag, brother. So let's just be clear. So shout out to my Mississippi family. Y'all gonna be all right. Jackson State has always led the FCS in attendance. They average 40,000 a year for the last 25 years. So they was always on the map, and hopefully, things will continue. Hopefully they, get the young brother TC Taylor or Willie Taggart to be their next coach. Let's move forward in church parking lot gossip. Should more churches start merging? And me and Kurt was having a conversation with our manager. Shout out to our manager, EJ. Her husband, their church merged. They were Hope Baltimore. And I forget the name of the church they merged with. But the congregations were smaller. As we've been talking about this past season, the pandemic affected every church differently. So their pastor got with another pastor and decided to merge. My young brother Taylor in Columbus, he merged with another church as well. Is this something that churches should start doing? Because growing up in Chicago, the home of the storefront churches, my boy Howard, HG Soul had a song, it's a chicken's joint, check cashing spot, 2 liquor stores, and an auto repair shop, and a church on every single block. Like, that's the hook of the song. So when you see these storefronts and you see these churches, do you think it's wise for churches to maybe start collaborating and merging together versus trying to be its own separate entity?
Who are you throwing that to?
I'm going to you first.
All right. In the spirit of Tavis Smiley this time, I feel that if we keep doing that, we're taking away the soul. We're taking away the soul. Now the churches are watered down. Most of these churches are probably moving with a more non-denominational, outfit.
Yeah.
And right now, if we keep doing that, just like with R&B, when you take the soul out of it, it dies. When you take the soul out of anything.
But not to stop you though, Bob, I don't think, I'm just saying, like, if you got 2 Baptist churches here on the corner, they got 50 members, I got 60 members. I'm saying let's merge together and make one church versus us being 2 kind of dying.
But is that happening though? Is that happening, or are they getting with other big church conglomerates that have stations or have satellite churches all through?
No. Yeah, this is not the satellite setup.
Okay.
No, this is just churches, independent churches collaborating and merging together. So, Kurt, same question to you, man. With the merging of churches in the 21st century, let me know, do you think that's good or bad, or what are your thoughts about that? Because like I said, we see what Brother Taylor's doing in Columbus and what our sister Erica, her husband, is doing with Hope Baltimore, Pastor Josh in Baltimore.
Yeah. So I believe we said on a previous episode, we touched on it lightly. And, it takes a lot of, humbling to be able to combine these churches.
Right.
I think most of these churches, the 2 that you referenced, are younger people.
Yes.
They're not set in their ways. Miss Jenkins don't have her seat.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And parking spaces and the little things.
Yep.
That, end up being big things because, people can't, in a sense, come together. They can't, respect other people. And, I think it's better because it would, preserve energy.
Yeah.
Light bills will be combined, water bills will be combined, and things like that. So I think it's a great idea. I think more people should definitely look into that.
Yeah, because we saw, man, we keep saying this, we've talked about this, extensively on the podcast, how the pandemic affected all churches, not just black churches. Sure. And to me, it makes more sense to converge and merge and bring these entities together, save money, save space, you know what I'm saying, and give your people in that congregation the opportunity not to feel like if I don't tithe today, the church lights might get cut off. You know what I'm saying? Like.
Well, and then on top of that, the preacher don't have to preach that.
Right.
Well, I think they should have a church versus where they got pastor on this side, pastor on that side.
This dude said church versus. That is hilarious. A church versus
coming soon. I'm trying to tell you, that's a great idea. We're gonna have to get that.
For real. TD Jakes versus Paula White.
Exactly. Exactly.
But let's move forward, man. And this was one that has been irking my spirit. You know what I mean? My coworkers say, man, Diallo's spirit is irking, something bothering me.
You see the light.
And that's white Jesus, man. We've talked about this on this podcast before, and I seen something a couple weeks ago that just brought this back up to me again. When are we going to divorce ourselves finally from this image? You You know what I'm saying? When are we going to say enough is enough? It's still up in a lot of our churches. It's still up, you know what I'm saying, across, social media platforms. And people really act like this is a real image of Christ. And I'm seeing it being pushed by our people. I expect that from others. But when are we going to finally divorce ourselves from this image? Because I feel like it's getting out of hand. I'm going to go to you, Kurt.
You know what? It's funny that I've been in Catholic churches and saw images on the wall that had darker skin Jesuses than the images that the churches I grew up in, the Baptist churches I grew up in. But we have to understand, we need history with our religion. Michelangelo was sanctioned to paint the Sistine Chapel for a reason.
Yeah. Facts.
And ever since then, I feel that does something to people when you see a image of what you think is God that does not look like you. I think that psychologically affects, people. And it psychologically affects other people that think they are, that special person as well.
Yeah.
Right. Barry, same for you, man.
I think it's the programming of the old Negro, the old comfortable Negro. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's all marketing with that. And you're seeing the imagery and you're thinking, okay, marketing, it takes you to see something 9 times for it to resonate with you. We've seen this millions of times.
Yes.
So now we understand, in our mind, we think in our psyche that white is right. What they say, what Sir say? Black cat is bad luck. Bad guys wear black. You know what I'm saying? Must have been that started all that. You know what I mean? So it's when you see it over and over, now you're thinking that, oh, this is what's good. This is what's which is holy and pure.
Right.
So we
and
got
that was purposely done.
All that. But the truth is coming out.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
We're not dumb or we're not uninformed. Let me not say
there you
dumb.
go. Uninformed.
We're not uninformed.
Exactly.
Like our grandparents.
That's real. Because they just didn't know. They just didn't know,
and it's all good.
And I'll admit something that I've never admitted publicly. And as a kid, and this goes to show you how strong the programming is. As a kid growing up, they tell you that this white Jesus is the Son of God. Right. God created the heavens and the earth. And when we pray to God in the name of his son, Jesus. So as a kid, when I would pray, I would actually think that and imagine God being white. You know what I'm saying? And that was a part of the programming. You know what I'm saying?
You admitting it, but a lot of people also
think that. Right. For real, man.
People still think that.
And that's the part where it's just like, man, like they was cold-blooded the way they set this whole thing up and mess with our psyche. You know what I mean? So let's move to our main topic as we get out of church parking lot gossip. And this is raising children in the 21st century, especially the third decade. Because this is like, man, ever since you have children, life just goes by fast. My grandfather always said that the older you get, the quicker life goes by. And what that looks like. Bonds, we were raised in the 90s. Our parents had a certain level of expectation from us. Talk about what it looked like being raised in the 90s versus what it's looking like raising our children like I said, in 2022, and we all have boys. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, in the 90s, we had more discipline. We were, and I'll say this too, is that we were spanked. Now some don't agree with spanking, but back in the day, to be honest with you, I feel like if I hadn't endured or got those spankings, I probably would be in somebody's jail right now. Because I was running wild, or I had this this rebellious spirit,
right?
To just do whatever I wanted to do, and I needed structure and discipline. And I think that that right there is probably missing because we're right now confined by the powers that be, that we can't do certain things, or we have to. Our governing of our children is being supervised by Big Brother. And they have so many avenues that they can. Your child don't like what you say about this, they can call 241 kids.
Right,
you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Your child can divorce you. Your child can do so many things. So the children
they can emancipate themselves.
So they have more rights. So if they don't like what you're doing, or the what you're putting down at the household, or the lessons you're teaching, or how you're raising them, then they can just pretty much say, all right, I'm out of here, and ditch you. So I feel like more structure and discipline needs to be implemented because it's not really respected these days. Let me say that.
Kurt, talk to me.
Yeah, man. I really feel in this instant that our people need to just view in and look at some other culture.
Yeah.
Namely the Jewish culture and the way Hispanic women treat their sons. You know, I feel like, you know, pouring into the kids and letting them know how much you value them and how, you know, smart they are and pretty they are, and just pouring into them, I think that has a greater effect than the opposite of disciplining by, you know, corporal punishment,
Right.
whooping your kids, or, you know, putting hands on your kids.
Yeah.
You know, I just think that devalues the child. I think that's something that we learned, you know, during slavery and was
Yes.
passed down, you know, from great-grandparents to grandparents. And, you know, I haven't really whooped my children at all.
Yeah,
You
me
know,
neither.
I probably swatted my son 3 times. And, you know, that was when he was playing a baseball game, and the guy he was playing against hit a walk-off home run, and he threw the controller right at the screen. And broke, you know.
Wow.
But other than that, you know, I just think that we need to, you know, look at some of these other cultures and how they pour into their kids, and, you know.
I agree with Kurt wholeheartedly, and I think a main thing that he talked about is listening to our children. That's key. A lot of parents just talk at their children. They don't listen. They don't give them an opportunity to express themselves. Now, I'm not saying you have to agree with everything that they share with you or everything that they bring to you, but listening, and then listening with an intent not to just respond, but listening with an intent to learn and to understand what they're saying and what they're feeling. Because I think too many oftentimes we totally dismiss children too much in today's society, especially the previous generations, because I had a lot of ideas and a lot of thoughts and things that I wanted to share, but I just felt like a lot of times, and it wasn't just at home, it would even be at school with teachers, I just felt like I wouldn't necessarily be heard, so I might as well just keep it to myself. And I never want children to feel that way, whether it's my children at home or children I work with in the community center. I want them always to be able to.
Are you speaking about, Mo said, sit down, man.
Right, exactly. So too many times children don't have an opportunity to have a space where they can share and not be ridiculed. You know what I mean? I always, you know, joke with my sons, and I tell them this to make them feel proud about who he is, especially my oldest son when it comes to the regard of, I always tell him, you're the kid that I was too ashamed to be. Growing up in Chicago, you know, being smart was frowned upon by our own people.
Yeah.
Or I had to sneak and read comic books, like the
And that's
things
still going on.
Exactly, it's still going on. It's not as bad as it once was, but you know, be who you are, man.
Yeah.
Intelligence is the new cool. Like being able to tell our children that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I love the fact that our children now are raised a little bit different than we are, but I always keep ourselves, remind ourselves to stand in position to learn from them, because they can teach us just as much as we can teach them.
Yeah, that's a fact. That's definitely a fact.
So as we get ready to close out this segment, man, give us one thing that you would share from your parenting style that you think would be beneficial. Bonds and then Kurt.
I would say 2 things. How many did you want?
Just one.
One? All right. Structure.
Go ahead, give them 2.
Right, you give us
Structure
two.
and discipline.
Yeah.
That's it. Structure and discipline. Those are right there, I feel like, are the cornerstones of having a great and productive, you know, young person, or just a great productive life. Is structure and discipline. Once you have those 2, then you have order, and then you have a well-respected, you know, very prosperous and productive young person.
Awesome. Kurt.
Yeah. I would say include your children in some discussion.
Right.
I truly believe that these young kids are gifted. They have great ideas. My youngest daughter, Sophia, is as smart as a whip.
Brilliant.
And a lot of times when, you know, we're having discussions and trying to figure things out, she does great with reasoning.
And not to cut you off, but do you know what makes your daughter so brilliant? And I notice this every time I'm around her. She's a great listener. She
Absolutely.
doesn't always have to be talking, and I can just
Absolutely right,
tell her spirit. She's listening. She's taking in information, and to me, that's a person that has a lot of high level intelligence. That's a great listener. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's funny that you say that, because she's always one of them people that says, "Well, you said
Right.
Well, you did say that."
Right.
Yeah, I don't know if you've ever seen the commercial where they at the, you know, in real life, but they go to a review like they in football.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yup. That's her.
She's that kid, man.
That's dope.
But I definitely agree. You got 2 ears and 1 mouth, so
It's
listening is huge. And listen to these kids.
Yep.
That's what I would say.
And one thing that you said, Kurt, earlier, I'm gonna attach to it is learning from other cultures. You know what I mean? I talked about our buddy Mitau, who we met him through our guy Randy. And
That's a lie.
No, you knew Mitau because y'all went to Princeton. No, Mitau used to work.
Quality Gold.
Oh, that's true.
No, it's
I
not.
introduced
No.
you to Mitau through Quality Gold. Stop that. He went to high school with me,
in
boy.
one of my classes, so she
See, you see how they be trying to
Watch
do
this.
me,
Watch
man?
this. I'm about to debunk Barry
how they
and Kurt
trying
right
to do
here.
me?
Mitau used to work at Jersey Mike's with my brother and
No,
Randy.
he did
That's
not.
how
He worked
that's
at
how I met
Quality
him.
Gold, and I introduced
how-
you because you used to work there too.
I didn't work at Quality Gold.
No, because you got your ring and whatnot.
I got
there.
exactly.
Thank you.
But I met him through Randy and my brother. But anyway,
Stop it.
the purpose. This is what we do. The purpose of the story is Mitau had went to college, got out of school, was doing this thing, and I was just listening and learning from his culture. And we used to be like, Mitau, man, like, why you still living with your parents? He's like, man, I'm good. I'm stacking. I'm like, you can't really go kick it and turn up. We got apartments and we doing our thing. And lo and behold, he found this young lady. He gave us an invite to his wedding. He went home to India to get married. It was like a 3-week joint. You know what I'm saying? I hate that I couldn't go to his wedding because I know the turn up was real. But when he came back, his wedding gift to his wife, he bought her a house. Because the money that he was able to save by staying at his parents' house, being a college graduate, having a 6-figure paying job, he was able to buy his wife a house. And fast forward, our relationship now, our 2 oldest children, our sons, are now juniors, and they've created and cultivated their own relationship based off of our ACT practice test class that we created. And they're learning from each other. My son is teaching him about black culture or about Liberian culture, and he's teaching my son about Indian culture, and they've created this great relationship. And to me, that's what it's all about. Children being able to have safe spaces where they can learn from each other and help them reach their highest potential and be them best and be their best selves.
That's going to kill racism. Racism is over. We coming for you, racism.
What else you got, man?
Hey, that's it for that segment. I'm just gonna yield the floor to our brother. He ready to take us home with a holy hustle. Quote unquote, a sinner's a saint. What you got for us?
All right, so this takes me back to the group text that we just had this week, where Brother Oscar was featured. Well, he had an Oscar sighting at the
Oscar sighting.
What was that? At the Reds
Cincinnati
Fest.
Reds Fest.
Yeah, exactly. You see the picture, okay? Oscar, as you see, is like
That's with my nephew AJ. That's my guy.
Yeah.
Oh,
So Oscar's like 6'8" tall, and he used to be in the choir. He was a
Yes.
fixture in the choir. So every time we have a choir concert, you see this tall dude whose head is probably almost touching the ceiling, and then his clap, he coming from back here. You know what I'm saying? And then when the choir start to getting it going, and the preacher starts getting into his spiel and whatnot, then you already know it's Oscar time. You know what I'm saying? Oscar start wilding out. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Look. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. So he started doing all that. So one time we over at St. Stephen's, right? And it's a choir concert.
St. Stephen's had some baddies.
Yeah, exactly.
They had
shout
some
out to
baddies.
St. Stephen's.
Yeah.
Home of so many great concerts. But
Yeah.
Charles Foe had a concert this one night, and I was there, and Charles Foe started turning up with Emmanuel. I don't know if you remember that.
that's classic joint. That's the classic joint.
So he started turning up, and he gets to the midsection of the song where he start vamping.
The
and,
vamp, yeah.
Boom, they start going. They start getting in that groove. And all of a sudden, you just see person coming flying, running to the front is Oscar. 6'8" of him running. He's full scale, you know what I'm saying? Thank you, Lord, thank you, Lord, thank you, Lord. So he starts.
Catching the spirit, huh?
Oh man, he's past that. He's wigging out. So he's going crazy. And then all of a sudden, everybody's trying to, get around him because, he was looking unstable and everything. So he's into it. The whole spot is turned up. Charles Foe got it on his ear. So then to that, all of a sudden you just see Oscar just fall on the ground, right? Fall on the ground. So we thinking like, oh no, is Oscar okay? Oh my God, Oscar okay? So then he brings Charles Foe brings the music down a little bit so you can kind of hear it because he's just talking. All of a sudden we hear a phone ring. So we looking and whatnot, And then we looking at Oscar. I don't know why I looked at Oscar, but Oscar had the phone like this. You see him pick up the phone and went, oh man, he's supposed to be on the floor out with the Holy Ghost. And then your boy is on the phone and want to answer his phone because if the phone rang.
I wasn't there that night, but Barry always tell this story, man. I know that had to be hilarious.
Funny, man. When I saw that, I said, Oscar is wow, bro. I'm
That's my
not
dude.
gonna say anything. That's my guy.
That's my guy.
But oh man, Oscar is crazy, man. Seriously.
That's what's up. Shout out, man. He's still doing his catering and his cooking thing, man. That's our brother, man.
Still cutting up. We need to have him on the show, man.
For sure. You know. All right, we have our proverb of the week, the message, and this is a Ethiopian proverb, and I'm gonna go to my brothers and get their thoughts on it, and then we're gonna wrap this one up. This is what it says: no matter how many times you wash a goat, it will still smell like a goat.
Oh wow.
Talk to me, Kurt, about that proverb and what that means to you and how that resonates with you.
A saying comes to mind that I really don't like, but it is what it is. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
It is what it is. You know, a lot of times, we try to, make situations into something that it isn't. The pimp say you can't make a hoe a housewife.
Facts.
Many have tried.
Facts.
But many have died trying.
Yeah.
And so many, cliche things that I could say.
Yeah.
But man, just being real with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Being real with yourself, being honest with yourself.
Another one, they say if it walk like a duck or quack like a duck, it's a duck. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Bonds, talk to me, man. How that resonate with you?
Comes to me is one thing that comes to me is when someone tells you who they are, believe them.
Yeah, that's real.
Pretty much, you know what I'm saying?
Somebody shows you who they are by their actions.
Yeah,
Sure,
exactly.
I
Believe them. Now, with everything, there's a gray area with everything. And me, I try to cut the gray area out, but,
we know
that pretty much, with me, it either is or it isn't. That's pretty much for me. It either is or isn't. It can't be here in the middle, but sometimes I know that there is space in the middle for certain things.
Right.
I get it.
Well, that's this week's message, and this is episode 24 of Church After Hours. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and please share this episode and all episodes with friends and family, and we'll see y'all next week.
Hey, let me say something real quick.
Go ahead.
We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. Please, if you know somebody, tell a friend to tell a friend. Help us out. We're trying to get to 1,000 so we can push this message along. We can get into more computer screens, cell phone screens, so that we can touch or talk to someone that needs to hear, a topic that we're discussing or hear a message. All right, my man Kurt on the editing, you know what I'm saying, doing a great job.
Absolutely.
Facilitating, doing a great job. It's Church After Hours. Please like, share, subscribe. Send this to somebody that you know, at least 2 people. If
Facts.
You can do that for us, God's gonna give you a Powerball.
See, there you go.
Just let it go. It's Christmas time.
And from now on, I gotta sit in the middle because these dark skinned brothers.
Exactly. You see the hue go from dark to light to lightest, right? Exactly, right?
All right, y'all. Peace and blessings. Church After Hours.
Please.